Mom is done talking. She stands up and looks out the tall window. Then she picks up the remote control for the shelf radio, punches it, and the room fills up with graceful music. Mozart or something. Mrs. Paget starts to say something else, but Mom is pushing the volume button. The small radio has a big voice. The woman police officer comes to the door of the den and talks into Mrs. Paget's ear. Mrs. Paget turns to Mom. She has to shout above the sound of a dozen violins and a harpsichord. We've concluded our search. Just for the record, Mrs. Phillips, if Bobby is not located and talked to by someone associated with my department within the next 5 days, then this becomes a police matter. Bobby will be classified as a missing juvenile under suspicious circumstances. You and your husband may be held liable, and in that case, you will both face criminal charges. Thank you. Then she turns and leaves. I know my mom swears once in a while, like if she burns her hand on a pan or if her computer freezes when she's trying to print something. But when that social worker and the cops leave the house, Mom cuts loose. The A word, she shouts it. The B word, Mom shakes her fist and hisses that one. She stomps around the first floor of the house, legs stiff, face red, and she works her way through the entire alphabet of swear words, including some stuff I've never even heard before. Deep down, I guess I always suspected Mom was a real human being. But I didn't know she was this real. And I didn't know anyone could get this angry, and I'm glad she's on my side. When she quiets down, she slumps onto the couch in the TV room and puts her face in her hands. Breathing hard, I sit down too, and she feels the couch move. She drops her hands and looks in my direction. She smiles weakly and says, "Sorry I lost my temper." Not very ladylike. I don't know what to say. I wish she could see me, because then all I'd need to do is nod and smile a little. But I have to say something, so I say, "They deserve it." Mom shakes her head. "No, they don't. Not really. And that's what's so frustrating. These aren't bad people. They're just doing their job, and they sincerely believe that a boy is missing, that something is wrong." Well, something is wrong. It's just not what they think. Mom nods. Right. So what happens now? Mom shrugs. You heard the lady. She said we have 5 days to show them that our son is alive and well. But what if I stay this way and we can't figure it out? I mean, we've already had 3 weeks. What if 5 more days isn't enough? Then your dad and I will have to deal with the law. Can they arrest you? If they can stomp in here with 3 police officers and paw through our house, what do you think? Before I can answer, Dad comes in the side door and calls, "Em? Bobby?" "In here, Dad." First thing, Dad gives Mom a hug and then takes a long look into her face. "So it was that bad, eh?" Mom nods. "Yes, it's not good. The case officer is building up evidence that Bobby is missing, and she plans to send someone to Florida to bang on Aunt Ethel's door, and they'll no doubt have a search warrant." I cut in. "Guys, you know it might be time to just tell them what's really going on. You haven't done anything wrong. This is my problem, and they're trying to stick the blame on you." Dad turns his head toward my voice and says, "I know what you're saying, Bobby, and your mom and I appreciate it, but I don't think that's a good idea. If we invite the state to step in, they'll jump in with both feet. The health authorities would have a field day with this. They'd get a hold of you and they'd never let go. They'd categorize your condition and then just take over. Probably treat it as a contagious disease or maybe a disability." That stops me cold. I have a disability? The way I am, it's like being paralyzed or blind. Dad continues, "They'd take you to a hospital or a research facility, and God knows how we'd ever get you back. And I'm not going to let them break up our family. But if they arrest my mom and dad, that's breaking up the family too. And I bet I'd like a research facility a lot more than you'd like the Cook County Jail." And right away I see I shouldn't have said that about the Cook County Jail, because this jolt of fear shoots across their faces, both of them. And it's not like when I was at home alone, feeling afraid of the dark. This is a real threat. The Cook County Jail is a bad place. And I see the fear settle into Dad's eyes, watch it pull at the corner of Mom's mouth. Looking at their faces, I know I'm not going to let them get arrested and dragged off to jail. That's not going to happen no matter what, not to my mom and dad. The lady said we have 5 whole days. A lot can happen in 5 days. It'll have to.